A direct-acting directional control valve may be either manual or solenoid actuated. Direct acting indicates that some method of force is applied directly to the spool, causing the spool to shift. In our illustration, energizing the solenoid or coil creates an electromagnetic force, which wants to pull the armature into the magnetic field. As this occurs, the connected push pin moves the spool in the same direction, while compressing the return spring. As the spool valve shifts, port P opens to port A, and port B opens to port T or tank. This allows the cylinder to extend. When the coil is de-energized, the return springs move the spool back to its center position. Push the full sequence button to see the valve operate. For control of systems requiring high flows, usually over 35 gallons per minute, pilot-operated directional control valves must be used due to the higher force required to shift the spool. The top valve, called the pilot valve, is used to hydraulically shift the bottom valve or the main valve. To accomplish this, oil is directed from either an internal or an external source to the pilot valve. When we energize the pilot valve, oil is directed to one side of the main spool. This will shift the spool, opening our pressure port to the work port and directing return fluid back to the tank. It is often required to externally pilot or send fluid to the pilot valve from an external source. The advantages to external piloting are constant pressure supply regardless of other influences in the main system, and the source may be filtered separately to prevent silting of the pilot valve. In addition to externally piloting, we may also externally or internally drain the valve. If the pilot valve is internally drained, oil flows directly into the tank port of the main valve. Pressure or flow surges occurring in the tank port when operating the main control spool may affect the unloaded side of the main spool, as well as the pilot valve. To avoid this, we may externally drain the pilot valve by feeding pilot oil flow back to the tank. Pilot-operated directional control valves may be field changed from internal to external pilot and drain. Push the full sequence button to see the valve operate.